Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. I can't tell you how good it is to see you again. The last 7 months have honestly been the hardest of my life. Without you guys here supporting me and helping me through losing my son, it would be really hard. The reason I'm bringing this up because I was talking to a viewer from the Parkinson's Warrior short. I hope you enjoyed that. It was fun to make. We've just been bouncing back and forth the idea of a famous quote. I can't tell you who it's from or anything, but it's the medium is the message. How the message is conveyed through, video, movie, radio, YouTube, and I've been thinking a lot about that in terms of community, right? Because I just don't see you guys as my audience, right? I see you as you are, my friends, my family, my close friends, my relatives. But without this process of me being able just to talk to you guys the last few months, I know I took a break there. I just couldn't, it was just too hard. But without me going zing, 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 zing all over the place with videos and stuff, you guys have been gracious, you've stuck with me. It's been hard to focus. I just want you to know that I really appreciate your kind words, your messages. When I started this, when Zach got me started on this many years ago, I had no idea how YouTube would turn out to be. To me, it's become a joy, a passion, something I look forward to, something I love doing. I guess that's just what I want to say is, I don't know how YouTube's impacted you guys, but the way this channel, the way the viewers have impacted my life is just, it's more than I could have imagined because I had no idea how it would be. I just want everyone watching and everyone who supports this channel to know that I had no idea that sitting here talking into this camera would involve so much connection over the internet that, I'm very grateful and thankful for it. It's really helped a lot. On with today's topic. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you consider subscribing. And for everybody else, thank you once again for coming back and watching another episode. So, how to get the most out of your neurology or movement disorder specialist. I'm just going to combine them into one and call them a neurologist. I have yet to meet a neurologist that was not a movement disorder specialist. So, for me, it's interchangeable. So, your 6-month checkup. Do you love it or hate it? Because honestly, for me, it's always turned into an 8-month thing because they just have so many patients and they're so overbooked, the neurologist. Whenever I make my appointment, it actually turns out to be another 8 months, and I've gotten used to that. Even though they call it a 6-month checkup, I'm not going to hold them to it. I understand the medical system is backed up and clogged, and there's not a whole lot someone like me can do about it, so it's not worth complaining about. But it is hard because we spend so much time in the future looking forward to these appointments that if there's something bothering us, like something that we didn't take care of last appointment that really wasn't like front and center stage, but now that we've gone and had our appointment and we're moving through the months day by day by day and it's starting to bother us, that's a real hard thing to deal with. I've been in that situation a few times. Certainly during my diagnosis process, it was a big worry because they were thinking I had dementia-like symptoms or Lewy body symptoms, which thankfully I don't, but it was hard to wait for that appointment. So I'm just going to talk about how my wife and I have learned how we get the most out of it, and these are lessons that are hard learned. Some of them are over tears. I wouldn't say we've got it all worked out, but I'm going to give you the best that I can. And if you look in the description below, I've made a document or a pamphlet that in a PDF format, so you'll be able to download it through my Google Drive. It's all safe. I've just made this so that you can print it out, you can share it amongst, you can send it to whoever you want. It's mainly something that you can use for your next doctor's appointment. So I just so that if you watch this video and you want to jot something down on your document, feel free. Let's go to the first item on the list. So the first item on the list is, what does an appointment look like for me? Well, I've seen 3 different neurologists. One of them was a movement disorder specialist and a dementia specialist, and they've all had kind of different processes. The first one was my dear doctor who diagnosed me and drove up to Squamish on a Sunday to come and see me. I mean, sometimes these people in the medical system, they do bend over backwards for you. Like driving up over probably an hour, hour and a half from Vancouver to Squamish just to come and see me on a Sunday was pretty amazing. I'm still in shock over it, but my family doctor was quite worried about me and was calling him and calling him and calling him, and I'm very thankful for that. He tended more to concentrate on the depression symptoms because it was definitely an issue for me, like from the beginning when I saw him. So when I got there, I would fill out like a depression survey. You score each thing and then he adds it up and says, based on the score, you're either okay or you're concerned. And then he did a lot of like visual eye tests because, like, if you've seen my other videos, I've had issues with my eyes, so, and a lot of the tests were focused on that. The dementia specialist was more of an interview process. He didn't do a lot of physical exams or anything, and thankfully he determined I wasn't having dementia symptoms. And my current neurologist out here in Kelowna, he likes to do the same physical tests every time, and then he scores them so it comes up on a graph on his computer. They're all the same in that they try and break down the commonalities of your symptoms, where you're at and where you're headed and where you've been. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, that's just how they've been. So my current neurologist, he likes to use his L-DOPA graph chart where you take your pills in the morning and they come up on the graph on the computer, and then there's this line, I guess that's the L-DOPA line. I don't understand how they work. All I know is if I'm not feeling good, I need more medication, and if I'm feeling bad or crazy because of the dyskinesia, I need less medication. The first and the very most important thing is that you make a list of all your medications, your dosages, what times you're taking them during the day, because this is usually the first thing at every appointment I've been to that the nurse asks me for, and they prefer if I hand them a sheet with everything recorded, because then that gives them more time to talk to us. If I just hand them my basket full of medication, which I've done a few times, they give me a, come on, look, you've had Parkinson's for 5 years, you should know about this. Why isn't it all on a list? So I've made room on this document to add some of that information, and if you need more room, you can just adjust it on your computer. I probably need a lot more room. I probably need a page alone. Just getting that task done for them gives them more time to interview you, and then you've got it in your mind, having that review. Yeah, I'm taking this, this, and this, and this. Yes, it's all here. My last appointment, I didn't do that, and I wish we had, because it was the first time we had seen this nurse, so we didn't really know her that well, so we actually spent a lot of time just talking and get to know each other, but we would have had more time for other things if I had done my homework and filled out my list of medications. And when you're writing down your medications and your dosages, make sure you're noting like when you're off and when you're on, or if you're having dyskinesia because you're getting hit too hard with the meds. That's a good thing to note down, because that's one of the things that I've forgotten to mention many times at the appointments, is like the dyskinesia period. When you go to the appointment, make sure you make a list of things you want to talk about. Like my wife and I will talk like a week or two before. We'll be like, okay, the appointment's coming up. What do we need to talk about? What should be on the list? What should not be on the list? And that's helped us a lot of times, like maximize our appointment, like really get the most out of it, because the nurse seems to be the one that has the most time with us. They're the ones that are easier, like if you're having problems, and sometimes the nurse has those tips and tricks of everyday life that you don't really go to see the neurologist for. We go to see the neurologist for the drugs and the surgeries, and we go to see the nurses for the everyday tips and tricks. Just seems to be how it works. And having that list with you of things that you want to talk about, things that are bothering you or are high on your radar, it really helps keep the appointment on track, because you're like, yeah, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about this. And coming there prepared, you're just going to get more bang for your buck. Your appointment's going to go better, you're going to leave feeling better. Hopefully it'll cut down on problems in between your appointments, and you're just nailing things off the list. Yeah, it's good. It's a good way to do things. It's good to come prepared and good to get what you need. And just speaking to that process of having your list with you of things that you want to talk about, it's important that you maximize your time, like get the most out of your time with your doctor, because we found a lot of times that, you know, when the doctors are doing rounds and stuff, they always tend to show up late for their appointment. I'm sure it can seem like a big backlog for them. So there's been times that we've waited like an hour, hour and a half for our appointment. You know, the doctor's in a bit of a rush. Maybe they've got somewhere else that they need to be at a certain time of the day. So sometimes we've been in the process of they just want to process you through. And I understand. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, they need to make sure everybody gets seen. Everybody gets a fair amount of time. If you're prepared, you've got your list, you're set to go, you can be like bang, 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 let's nail these suckers off the list. Yeah, give me my increase in medication, give me my pills. Because it's frustrating when you come out of your appointment and you see 6 more patients waiting for the doctor there, and it's like, gosh, it's already 3 o'clock. How's he going to get them done before 5? I have no idea, but I'm just saying that when you're prepared for your appointment, you're prepared for whatever situation happens at the office. Heaven forbid that you're asked to come back the following day. And if you're finding that you're in that process of getting rushed through and you're not getting the attention you need, bring up some tears. Do anything you can to get what you need. When you start crying, I'm not saying that it's a good thing to use that tool, but a couple times the tears have come and I just haven't been able to hold them back. And I noticed that when you're crying, you do get the attention you need, no matter what the situation. Yeah, you've really got to advocate for yourself, especially at your appointments. Make sure your main caregiver comes with you, because when you're talking to the nurse, you may forget things that you need to bring up, and your caregiver can speak to those, and they can also speak as someone who sees you every day, right? It's hard to think of everything. Having your main caregiver come into the interview with the nurse and the doctor, because the nurse is, for me anyhow, the nurse summarizes everything we talk about and then goes to see the doctor, and then after the doctor's reviewed that, then the neurologist comes and brings us in. Yeah, and when you have your main caregiver with you, your main caregiver can be your kind of like your advocate, right? If you're not getting what you need, having your main caregiver there, like pushing, like, yeah, Dave needs this, Dave needs this, no, we don't need this, but we need this. It just really gives you more ammunition to highlight, you know, what you need, because you need to go to that appointment and get what you need, because you have to live the next 6 to 8 months until you see your doctor again in some kind of limbo. And sometimes it goes good and sometimes it goes hard, but we need to smooth out the hard parts, because we all know how exhausting Parkinson's can be. When you're heading to your appointment, leave early, make a trip out of it. What we did when we drove out from Squamish to UBC is we would always leave a bit earlier, go for a walk, find the parking spot that we wanted, that we parked at every time, the same place every time. And you know, we'd stop in the coffee shop, have a coffee and a muffin. Anybody who goes to UBC knows what the coffee shop I'm talking about. After we would have my appointment, we would always go for lunch at one of our favorite Japanese restaurants, so we made a day out of it, and it was nice. It was a nice thing to do. Sometimes when you're at home all the time, and just going to a doctor's appointment can seem like a holiday. Yeah. Ew, it's our break from the house, yay! Now, the last thing I'm going to bring up is one that, unfortunately, through this channel, it's an issue that people have brought up to me. Like, I've had people message me, oh, you know, things are going really bad, I can't get a hold of the neurologist, I've been waiting or I've been waiting so long for my appointment, I don't know what to do. You know, I don't mind giving suggestions and stuff, because we all need to be here to help each other. You need to have a way to contact your doctor, and you're probably not going to be able to phone them. You know, we've never actually been able to receive a doctor's direct number, but what we have been able to get, we've been able to get the social worker's number, we've been able to get the nurse's number, so that if we do have a problem, we can bypass the front desk, because the front desk is like the big gates in the city, right? They're only letting the people in with appointments. So if you've got that contact number who can get a hold of your doctor for you and get back to you with a solution, that's an incredibly valuable thing to have. And that's been something that my wife's been really, really good at getting, is like people's numbers, so that when I do have a problem, we've always been able to contact the doctor. So if you're having your neurology appointment soon, go there and get some numbers, so that when you're having problems, you're able to get the help you need, because we found that going to emergency, there probably isn't a movement disorder specialist there, and they're probably not going to call one in on call unless you're having like a life or death situation. So we found that emergency, in our area anyhow, maybe in your city it's different, emergency is not the place to go. That when you're having a Parkinson's problem with your medication, it's good to have that social worker or the nurse, whoever you need to reach, who can get a note to the doctor and get you some help. That is the best recommendation I can give you. Okay. Well, there's my tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your neurology appointment. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm really looking forward to the next few ones that I have scheduled, and I'm really looking forward to the live broadcast that's coming up at the beginning of January. Look forward to that. And if you've got any comments, if you think I've left anything out, please let me know in the comments below. I'm more than happy to talk about additional items. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, in the description below, I have a document that you can download off my Google Drive. Just is basically the outline of this video, and I've made some sections there to help you at your next appointment. Feel free to take it, print it out, and distribute it freely. Hopefully it helps somebody out there who needs it. And as always, let's take this journey together. And as I said at the beginning of the video, thank you so much for sticking with me and this channel through these last few months. It's been the hardest of my life. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me your time, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.